Shabbat Shalom. It's so good to be back with the congregation after taking some time away to be on parental leave. I don't know if you could tell beneath my mask, I've been all smiles all of this service. In the last few weeks, I have been thinking a great deal about new beginnings. On Rosh Hashanah, we greeted the new year, and during Sukkot, we welcomed the fall harvest and began a new agricultural cycle. And on Simchat Torah, we marked the conclusion and the beginning of our annual Torah readings. And on Shabbat Bereshit, we quite literally begin the Torah once more with chapter 1, verse 1. In the early hours of the morning, holding my newborn son, I have reflected on how things begin. In this week's Parsha, the creation of the world starts out promisingly enough. God says, "Let there be light," and there was light. The text even gives us an insight into God's emotion, his reaction. God says that the light was good. The Hebrew word tov appears 7 times in the very first chapter of the Torah. The land and the sea are both good, as are the fruit-bearing trees, the sun and moon, and all of the animals. Upon finishing the work of creation at the end of the 6th day, God looks upon the newly formed world and found that it was not just good, but it was very good. And then, after Adam and Eve eat from the forbidden tree, the word tov does not appear for another 11 chapters. Pretty soon, God's most prized creation, humanity, engages in rebelliousness, deceit, and jealousy. By the 4th chapter, we've moved on to murder. This descent seems so out of place, so unnecessary in the start of our history. And yet our tradition teaches us that every verse in the Torah stands to teach us something. So what can we learn from this tale? When contemplating creation, we usually think of humanity being the last work, the final thing that God creates. However, in the following passage from Bereshit chapter 2, we see that the trees of the Garden of Eden grow around Adam. As it is written, "To the east, Adonai planted a garden in Eden, setting there the man whom God had formed. Then, out of the soil, God grew trees alluring to the eye and good for fruit, and in the middle of the garden, the tree of life and the tree of all knowledge." Had the trees existed first, it would be easy to completely buy into God's condemnation of eating from the tree. But humanity comes first, and then creation continues. This scene is a reminder that creation is not an instant, but a process, a continuous process that happens each and every day. So as we celebrate beginnings on this Shabbat Bereshit, we can be reminded that each and every day brings with it a new beginning, a new opportunity for creating something new, another day in which we can choose to add to the beauty of the world and turn away from evil inclinations. Adam and Eve, as most people generally are, were curious. Jewish philosopher and legal scholar Morris Raphael Cohen states that it is the appreciation of beauty and truth, the striving for knowledge, which makes life worth living. The constant search for knowledge is intrinsic to the Jewish experience. So how can we condemn Eve for having that same desire? This yearning drives us, not only as a people, but as Jews. But Eve tends to be vilified in rabbinic commentaries on this story. She allegedly disobeys God, and in that act, she causes the downfall of humanity. That blame seems a little unfair. Put in the same position as Adam and Eve, I'd venture to say that many of us would probably do the same thing. Imagine for a moment that the volumes upon volumes of Jewish wisdom and secular wisdom were instantly accessible to us. Would we not want to know and see everything that we can? When Adam and Eve bite into the fruit of the tree of knowledge, they can suddenly see everything. It is a new beginning in their existence. There is no longer just black and white, but there are shades of gray and different colors to the world. However, the search for knowledge can be dangerous. As Samantha Shannon states in her book, The Bone Season, knowledge is dangerous. Once you know something, you cannot get rid of it. You have to carry it with you always. This is especially true in scientific breakthroughs. Once you discover something, it is out there forever. Once genetics have been engineered, once nuclear power has been harnessed, or disease has been mutated, there is no going back. A new beginning has begun. The choice then becomes how to use this discovery in the most positive way possible, even if it has already caused harm. We can only move forward and hope to use our knowledge wisely. Whether or not we are happy that Eve makes this choice for us, the desire to search for knowledge is deeply embedded in who we are. We have to take that craving and run with it, and remember the consequences. We should challenge ourselves to see the world as Eve wanted to see it, the good, the evil, and everything in between. On this Shabbat Bereshit, may you be blessed with the beauty of creation. May you seek to learn something new and experience, even just for one moment, something in a different way than you ever have before. Shabbat Shalom.